She never made it out of that apartment alive, and after nearly 4 decades, her name still echoes through courtrooms and headlines. Karen Lane. On June 10, 2025, the state of Alabama is scheduled to execute Gregory Hunt for her murder. June 10th is shaping up to be a grim day in execution history. On that date, Gregory Hunt is scheduled to be executed, and he won't be the only one. Anthony Wainwright is also set to die the same day. We've already covered Wainwright's case in a previous video, so be sure to check that out if you haven't yet. Now let's turn our focus to Gregory Hunt and the brutal crime that led to his final countdown. But this story isn't just about justice being carried out. It's about a young woman whose life ended in horror and the long, painful shadow that her death has cast on everyone who knew her. If you care about justice, accountability, and the lives lost in violent crimes, take a moment to listen and please like and subscribe. Karen Lane and Gregory Hunt had only been together for about a month. She was staying with Hunt's cousin, Tina Gilliland, in a small apartment in Cordova, Alabama. But their relationship was anything but calm. In the early hours of August 2nd, 1988, something horrific unfolded in the quiet town of Cordova, Alabama. Karen Lane, just 27 years old, had gone to visit a friend at her apartment. An ordinary night, no doubt filled with the kind of casual comfort you share with someone you trust. But Gregory Hunt was waiting. According to court records, Hunt broke into the apartment while Karen was alone. What happened next was described in court as a brutal and calculated act. She was attacked, sexually assaulted, and murdered. Her life taken in a moment of cruelty that would leave a permanent scar on everyone who knew her. Hunt fled the scene, but it didn't take long for the police to find him. He confessed to the murder. In 1990, he was convicted of 3 counts of capital murder, with the jury voting 11-1 in favor of the death penalty. That conviction has stood for 35 years, but now the clock is winding down. Alabama has scheduled Hunt's execution for June 10th, 2025. This will be the 3rd execution the state carries out this year, and the 2nd to use nitrogen gas, a method only recently introduced. It involves replacing oxygen with pure nitrogen, causing death by hypoxia. The state used it for the first time in January, and it's controversial to say the least. As his execution approaches, Hunt has decided to represent himself in a last-minute appeal. He now claims that while he did kill Karen, he didn't sexually assault her. If that claim were accepted, it could potentially reduce his charge from capital murder to simple murder, removing the legal basis for the death penalty. Gregory Hunt has spent the last 35 years on death row, longer than Karen Lane lived. 35 years of legal battles, appeals, and waiting. For many, it's a symbol of how agonizingly slow the wheels of justice can turn. For others, it's a reminder that while the killer had decades to fight for his life, Karen had no such luxury. Her story ended in 1988. His has dragged on for more than 3 decades. And now in June 2025, that chapter may finally close. But state prosecutors remain firm. They say the evidence supports the original conviction, including the sexual assault. Hunt has had decades to make his case. Courts have reviewed it. Appeals have been filed and denied, and now the end seems final. But let's pause here. Not for Hunt, but for Karen. There's something profoundly unfair about the way victims can disappear from their own stories. When someone is murdered, especially in a crime as violent and prolonged as this one, the headlines tend to shift to the killer, their appeals, their motives, their fate. Meanwhile, Karen Lane is a name on a page, a face we never see, a person we never really got to know. We couldn't find a single photo of Karen Lane. No birthday snapshots, no graduation smiles, no frozen moments of joy. In a world where everyone's life is captured in pictures, hers is a haunting blank space. It's as if time swallowed her whole, leaving behind only the headlines and the horror. But Karen was real. She laughed, she cried, She mattered. Her sister once said that losing Karen shattered their family, a wound that never really healed. And though we can't show you her face, we can tell you this: Karen Lane was loved, and her story, even in silence, deserves to be heard. In truth, there isn't much public information available about Karen Lane. No interviews with grieving parents, no archived photos of her smiling with friends, no detailed backstory outlining her dreams or the kind of life she was trying to build. And maybe that's the part that stings the most: how someone can be so violently taken and then quietly forgotten by time. But let's not forget what we do know. Karen Lane was a daughter, a friend, a young woman who trusted that she was safe inside someone else's home. She didn't get a second chance. She didn't get to appeal her fate, and she didn't get to grow older, watch the world change, or see her name used for anything other than court documents and execution dockets. When you read through the sparse records and legal opinions from this case, Karen's name is mentioned, but rarely does anyone speak for her. So let's speak for her now. Let's say her name, not just as a detail in a true crime story, but as a human being who had value, who mattered, who was more than the worst moment of her life. The upcoming execution of Gregory Hunt will, for many, be a moment of justice finally delivered. For others, it may spark renewed debate about the death penalty, about methods like nitrogen hypoxia, and about whether executions bring closure, or simply more headlines. But for Karen Lane, this moment is something different. It's silence. It's the story ending. Again. So as that date approaches, let's remember her not just as a victim, but as a person who deserved more. And let's make sure that while Gregory Hunt's final moments are counted down and documented, Karen Lane's name isn't lost in the noise. Her story deserves to be remembered, and so do all the stories like hers. The quiet ones, the missing ones, the ones buried beneath court proceedings and forgotten by time. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and sharing it with others. Your support helps keep these stories alive and ensures that the names of victims like Karen Lane are never forgotten. Until next time, stay aware, stay kind, and remember the lives behind the headlines. Heads up, true crime fans! The upcoming execution of John Hanson is drawing near, and in our next video, we'll explore the crimes that led to this moment. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss this story coming soon.